Well, hello.
Hello? Oh, so this is our first project. And I've already asked folks in the chat, like, oh, how are you feeling? And we've got people being like, oh, I feel great. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Ah,
I have decided to wear my emotional support hoodie just in case this is scary. Um, but I think this is going to be scary in a way that this sounds kind of sadistic, but this is scary in a way our learners have kind of specifically asked for.
oh, you know, uh, have being thrown into a exercise like this, into a project like this, with really sort of a look. Um, here are some conditions we need you to have in order to pass this project. Can be a little bit daunting, and our objective for today is to sort of like very smoothly show you how we would approach something like this. We're not going to solve the whole thing. We're just going to go how through our thought process, break down some of the more like complex parts. Like one of my favorite approaches to complex programming is something that I've been taught as called divide and conquer. And this is like
Decomposition.
decomposition. That's it. Taking a problem, breaking it down into small parts, just so you can sort of like laser focus on one part. And what I like about it is that I find it motivating. Sorry,
Oh, no, I was gonna say, I actually do this in my day-to-day life. I'll have one problem,
love it.
and then I'll address it in a way where I have many problems, and that's not what we're doing here. We're taking one bigger problem and cutting it into smaller, manageable pieces. So
Yeah.
not train wrecking a big problem into 6 big problems, but like, "Hey, we're gonna take a challenge, not even a problem, it can't hurt us, it's just JavaScript, and
Yeah,
cutting it up into little easy bites."
exactly. Shall we? Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say, and, like, this is something our learners have asked of us about, like, how would we make a project? How would we make an application? How would we make something that does something? And you've
Yeah.
talked about the divide and conquer. I kind of like a recipe approach, um, which is
Ooh.
to write out the algorithm. This sounds so official,
Mm,
this sounds so scary, but an algorithm is just a recipe or just a set of instructions. So I
yeah.
like to start sort of read like, what do we need to do? What does this need to do? And then
Mm,
start breaking it down. Oh, we need to have, and I'm gonna this is our spoilers things for project streams. We need to have a text box in our HTML where a user can input text.
yeah.
So the ability to say, hey, we need these things. These are part of our recipe, and our recipe can change.
Absolutely. How about I walk us through real quick what we need here? So what we're going to
Yeah.
be building here is an app that checks if a string that we put in is a palindrome. And a palindrome here is a word or even more than one word that can be when we flip it over, when we switch it, when we reverse it, it reads the same way. In this example specifically, we'll be ignoring punctuation, case, and spacing. We'll see what that means in just a minute. And our objective is to essentially build something that looks like what we have here as a solution from Free Code Camp themselves.
You're not a palindrome.
No, Ramon is not a palindrome. Let's try a different one. I think race car, for example, is a palindrome.
Way.
Uh, one of my favorite longer ones in English is rats live on no evil star. That's a
Ah,
palindrome. Uh,
what a
and of course,
normal and well-adjusted one.
one in Spanish, for example, Anita lava latina, which essentially translates to Anita washes the tub. That's a
Okay.
palindrome.
Oh, good for you, Anita.
Uh, Taco Cat
Mr.
suggested
Grubb
in the chat here.
suggests.
Love it. That's a palindrome. Things that aren't, of course, my name, Ramon, not a palindrome. But one thing that's special about this palindrome checker in particular, let's look at Taco Cat again. If I put in special characters or underscores, it's going to say, well, Taco Cat is a palindrome.
Because
And
we're
that's because,
ignoring those, yeah?
correct.
Does that mean we have to write the logic that excludes
Yes,
those from how we process this?
exactly. If we if we look about, oh,
W
Oh, Eric, I would love to know what that Finnish word is. I will not try and pronounce it. I love Finnish so much, but
I I so sorry. No, 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 no. I will joyously waste all our learners' time talking about palindromes in, different types of languages, and oh, it's soapstones.
oh my gosh, that is so cool.
That
Um,
does, to my eye, look like it, and we might use that in our testing later.
I
So
love it. One thing to bear in mind with this app is that it's not just checking for palindromes. Look at what it's doing. When I type in a word like Hannah, which is a palindrome, by the way, when I press the button check, it's going to take the input from here, and depending on whether it's a palindrome or not, it'll write out that word and say Hannah is a palindrome or is not a palindrome, right?
yeah.
So let's look at our instructions real quick. And here's going to be the important part. You'll need to remove all non-alphanumeric characters, punctuation, spaces, symbols, and turn everything into the same case. That is, make all the letters uppercase or make all the letters lowercase in order to check for palindromes.
Okay.
Then we've got user stories. Do we want to talk about these real quick?
Yeah. So user stories are something in actual client work for tech, or so talking about a
Yeah.
user story is something you'll get when you're, like, actually working. So
Mhm.
earlier today, I was doing some user stories for a survey. Say, "Oh, as a contributor to an open source project, I want to blank." So, hey, what does our user want to be able to do? And these are a little bit
Yeah.
more specific than a lot. So these have been really refined. You've got a really fantastic product lead, or you've got a really fantastic manager you're working with who's like, look, I've broken down these user stories. And these are human readable language. These are English sentences, or if you're doing this in Spanish or in German, or that tell us what we need to have on our page. And really, what they tell us as well is what our tests are written around. So we're really like, if
Yeah.
you scroll all the way down, bossing you around, this is why I usually
Please. We're
drive.
pair programming.
We'll see these tests that need to pass for our project to get accepted. And we are
Yeah.
not going to do all y'all's homework.
Absolutely not. So now that now that we've got some user stories, we understand how it is that a palindrome looks. We know have an idea of how it should look. Let's take a look at what we have here. We have three files. We have index.html, style CSS, and JavaScript.js. And you might notice each and every one of these is blank. And
How relaxing, how chill. And this might be
and
especially challenging for folks who didn't join us for the web boot camp, but
yeah,
yeah. So this is something where, Cesium's, summary video might be especially useful. I'll go and get that. Um, but yeah, these are a little bit scary. Can anybody remember? I know I ask you all the time. What's the HTML code that's kind of mostly the same? What's that called? The HTML code that we put in almost all the time?
uh, oh,
Not you. Don't you
no,
dare.
no, not me.
All right. I see some folks I
Ooh, look.
haven't seen before joining us. And hello, my loves. Just to give you a
Hello,
heads up of
everybody.
what we're doing, we're running a free boot camp where we're teaching the new JavaScript curriculum. And we've got
Yeah,
tons of people. Look at this, just boom, boom, boom. Boilerplate, 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 boilerplate. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
love it.
Ramon, what you're writing out now, kind of the boilerplate. And you said
Yeah,
this document's HTML. I won't focus on this too much because we want to hurry, but you've linked
yeah.
to the empty JavaScript file. Cool, cool, cool.
Matthias, uh please don't apologize. Thank you so much for the raid. It's so good to have you here.
Y'all are being nice
Welcome.
to each other.
If you
Oh,
wanna
obviously, you shouldn't always just copy code. But if you right click on most web pages that don't use automatically generated HTML, and we'll talk about those later. We've got spiky opinions. You could just copy and paste the HTML from an
it's
existing
amazing.
project. I mean, and this is one of those things where this will work. Oh, That's such a good point. We should add the free code can't tag. Thank you, my loves. So you can absolutely do that. If you were going to use this in your professional portfolio to get a job, I'd be a little bit side eye if you copied it. But good enough is good enough. So if we do just enough for this to pass, we're good.
Absolutely. By the way, folks, if you want to follow what we're doing and catch up on the bootcamp, if you go to youtube.com/@bad website club, you'll find all the recordings of these streams there. But back to our code here. So we've got a boilerplate of our HTML, and I've got some good and bad news. The good news is I'm not going to do all of this for y'all, but the bad news is that's all the HTML I'm going to do for y'all, and we're just going to focus on the script today. Now I'm going to
Okay, so
open up our cons.
you said
Yep.
that's bad news, but you're just going to do the hard stuff with us.
So one part I want to focus on today is the algorithm for figuring out if something is a palindrome. And I'm going to make that super easy by oh no, I forgot the term. Uh,
Sorry,
encapsulating. Oh, sorry.
encapsulating. Okay, love it. Yes.
Encapsulating or putting all of the focus into one specific part of the code. And I'm going to do that by having a function called isPalindrome that takes a single parameter, which is going to be str, which is short for the string.
Okay.
So what I expect, I'm going to put this comment outside. I'm going to be writing a lot of comments now that we have access to it. So returns true if str is palindrome.
So we're kind of working from the bottom up.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. This can't hurt us.
No.
We've got folks in the chat who are like, "Oh, I finished this project yesterday." Oh, you started. You start. I thought somebody was saying they finished this yesterday. I was like, uh, we aren't going to finish this in a day. And
Oh
okay,
no. Like our objective today is to only
carve it out. Carve out the logic.
carve it out. Yeah, we're
Yeah.
just going to focus on the is palindrome aspect of it. Now let's take a look at those instructions again real quick. So a palindrome is a word or phrase that can be read the same way forwards and backwards, ignoring punctuation, case, and spacing. And this is important. We will need to remove all non-alphanumeric characters and turn everything into the same case. And here we're starting to get some ideas of how we're going to do this. So first of all, I'm just going to think out loud. What makes a
Well,
palindrome?
can
A
we?
palindrome? Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, can we think out loud? Can we sort of make what? And I'd love to
Yeah.
crowdsource this. Like, we're not nearly mean enough to the learners. What kind of steps do we need to do these?
Yeah.
Um,
And I'm going to make like a step one here.
step 1. So step 1 is oh, step 1 might be like have a string
Right?
or
We
start
I
with a
mean, we
string.
have that here from we already
Oh, we
have our
do.
string.
Okay, look, that was step 0 and we've got that. Okay, cool, cool, cool.
You're good.
We're gonna
So,
need to oh, we're gonna need
let's
to
see what we got.
do stuff to the string.
Yeah.
But I think before
We'll
we do stuff to the string, like the string is oh, so Mr. Grubworm has 1 point. We could split the string in half and compare the halves. That is definitely a way to handle this. I think we need to do a little bit first. And Tita's like,
lowercase.
we could lowercase the string first. We could. Okay, rad.
No, we totally can.
Or we could uppercase it. Make string lowercase.
Hmm.
I think that if we're gonna do stuff with the string, like if we're gonna remove characters and
Yep.
spaces and stuff, if we're gonna do stuff to individual characters in the string, we might need to make it
Mhm.
not a hey, Jane, after my own heart. We need to look at each element individually. And I think we'd probably need to turn this into an array or an array-like object.
Oh, Mitch is reading my mind.
Oh no,
Regex to remove
regex.
non-lettuce. I'm
Crit
gonna I'm gonna simplify this a little bit.
Yeah,
Clean up string.
clean up string. Oh no, I think
Mhm.
do we not need to we don't need to turn it into a non-string first? We don't need to turn it into
I think we can remove those extra characters first and then
Ooh.
do the array stuff.
I love how the learners who did regex with us are just like regex, regex,
Everything is okay.
more regex. Okay, everything's okay. Can't really hurt us.
before we think about like what we're gonna use, let's just think like without code, with pseudocode. So we'll make the string lowercase. We'll clean up the string. We'll figure out what cleaning up the string means in a bit. Then we will, I would say, split string up into individual letters.
Okay.
Step 4.
Oh,
Reverse the order of the letters.
and then
Step 5.
compare the original join the letters back into one string.
Yeah. And
Okay,
then
sorry, I'm allergic
Oh,
to
sorry, go
everything. I'm
ahead.
gonna send myself to jail for a second.
You're good, you're good. So, and the last step we're gonna do is, so first we've turned it lowercase. Then we've cleaned up the string. We split that string into individual letters. We reverse the order of those letters. We join those letters back into one string, and then compare that reversed string is the same as cleaned up string.
Oh, so some folks have given us different things. Oh, we could find the midpoint and split this. I think your way. So there's
Where'd my
Monica, that's a
string
really
go?
good question. I'm going to save it. It's so good. So we'll definitely get to
Yeah.
this question. This makes sense to me. So a lot of folks have said, "Hey, we could look and try and calculate where the middle of a string is." But your approach, we're like, "Hey, look, let's clean up a string.
Yep.
Let's reverse the order of the letters and let's compare that to the original." That
Not to the original, the cleaned up one.
to the cleaned up.
The original has like
Oh, that's none of our
ampersands and stuff.
business. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And
We
folks
made
are very rightly saying like, "Hey, but we did the, like, split things in half with the date project. Y'all are right, y'all are right. We're just doing this." I think you absolutely could split a potential palindrome directly down the middle and compare the halves, but
Yeah.
I'm very lazy, so bonus points if y'all can there's no bonus points. Spiritual bonus points if you could try another way to make this work. There's often different ways to do the same thing.
Oh, totally. And here's the thing. I like to break it down into really pedantic, as in like really what would pedantic be in this case? Like really like unnecessarily slow steps, just so that we can just so I can sort of like chart my progress step by step, you know? So, okay, let's start at step 1. I'm going to make
Oh,
a variable.
wait. We need a new
What?
step 1
Yes. What's that?
because oh, wait, no, I lied. I was like, "Hey, we need to store the original string in a variable so we can display it at the end." We don't. It already
Yeah, I'm not going to
Yeah,
change it.
oh, you're fine.
All fine.
That's why I was like,
So, yeah. So lowercase string is equals. Now, how do we lowercase a string? Usually, I'd go um, to my search engine of choice and look up how to lowercase string in JavaScript. I already did that. It turns out you can call a method on a string called to lowercase.
and it's just it's a method, so it's just like a built-in function that JavaScript already invented for us.
Correct. So I'm gonna paste that MDN link into here and just start with our
Amazing.
first. So str to lowercase. Now here's what I'm going to be doing, friends. I'm going to be console logging the heck out of this as I go. Console log. Let me just put it here. Console log lowercase string. And I'm going to put I'm going to call the function here is palindrome. I wish I remembered how that soapstone one looked. Race car. So in theory, and I don't know why it's
Oh, wait,
not.
no. I think a problem we
Okay.
have is that race car is already lowercase, so we're not gonna see a big difference.
There.
Oh, now we have a
What?
different problem because that's stressing me out.
Here we go. There we go. So we see race car there.
we see an error, and that error is fine. We're gonna deal with it later because
Let
we're
me
saying
calm
return
this.
something that doesn't exist yet. So
Yeah, let me calm that down.
errors can only hurt us if our bosses can yell at us for them. Sometimes, oftentimes, almost always, an error is just like, oh, that's a really useful thing to know. It's like a very
Yeah.
scary sounding heads up.
Okay. So we've done our step 1. Let's do step 2 now. Clean up string. Const cleaned up string. Now, we remember from when we worked with regular expressions. Oh, speaking of which, let's have a regex.
Oh, for folks, because we've got a mix of learners who've joined us before and folks who haven't. Folks who've joined us before, how would you describe a regular expression to somebody who'd never heard of one before?
Yeah. In the
Or how would you
meantime, I'm
describe a
going to
regular expression to somebody afraid of one?
absolutely. So I've got my regex here. Now I want it to match all non-alphanumeric characters. Again, I would go to my search engine of choice and I would come upon this MDN article on character classes. Going to bring it up here.
Can we embiggen that a little bit?
Yes, of course, I'm very sorry.
No, hush. Don't you get into a polite off. I'll lose. Okay.
So the backslash W1 matches any alphanumeric character, including an underscore.
Oh.
The
Oh.
backslash uppercase W matches any character that is not a word character from the basic Latin alphabet. It is equivalent to this. What that means is backslash W will match any non-alphanumeric character. Hey, that's what I want. So let's have it match any backslash W non-alphanumeric character. Now, there's my regex. Cleaned up string is going to be equals to lowercase string dot replace our regex. So anything that matches that regex, and we're going to replace that with an empty string, which
And
if
that'll
you
just delete it.
remember, exactly, it replaces it with nothing. So it's console log cleaned up string. Of course, that looks fine. Same
Because we
as the
didn't have
lowercase
anything in it.
string.
Give me like a pound sign right in the middle.
Yeah, let's put a pound sign in here. Oh, I don't have a pound sign.
Look,
Wait, is this a
look.
pound sign?
I believe hashtag these days. But yeah.
So, look, here's our lowercase string, still has the hashtag. Here's our cleaned up string, remove the hashtag. However, there is a problem. There is a problem. Look,
No, but we did this. It's the
yep,
/G on the outside gets you all of them, because otherwise by default who
correct.
was it? Like the learners who were with us for the, regex class really absolutely helped me fix my life. I was always, Mehmet, there's a delay, so you were right there just out of the gate like /G. Thank you, my love.
Jane makes a good point. It didn't remove the underscore. Well,
Ooh.
well, well. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go back and read that again. It's going to leave in underscores because, and do not ask me why. I don't know, and I'm sorry. But regex considers underscores part of those alphanumeric characters. But that's okay. We know regex. We just got to use the sorry. We just got to use the square brackets and be like, well,
Just.
this needs to fair point. This needs to be either a non-alphanumeric character or
The
an
underscore.
underscore.
Okay. So still scary, but not, like, dangerously scary.
Yeah.
And there's other ways you could do this as well. You could match all the alphanumeric characters and just include those.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's step 2 done. Now we need to split the string up into individual letters.
To array. To array. We a little function where it turns into like is to array a built-in method?
No, we're going to use split for this.
Split, that's what it was. I definitely knew.
So what do we call our variable? Let's call it, oh, split string.
Hey.
Cleaned up string dot split. I'm just going to split it on every character. And now I'm going to console log that. Console log split string.
So what we're doing here as we test these every single time is we're really walking our program through the logic we spelled out in our algorithm and said, okay, we need to do this. Let's write the code that does it. Let's console log sort of our built-in test to see, does it do what we
Yeah.
expect? And then we can sort of make them all hold hands at the end.
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about this. Step 4, let's call this reversed letters. So split string dot reverse.
Okay, so
And
reverse
like
is the
before,
built-in method. That's super chill.
yep, it's built into arrays. That's why we needed to turn it into an array so that we could reverse it. Monica earlier asked, can you reverse a string without turning it into an array? Last time I checked that I've been doing this bootcamp, no.
You hear me in the
Reversed.
background, tap, tap, tap.
Go for it. Reversed letters. Cool. Well, I hope it's reversed. It certainly looks reversed.
Oh, because it's a palindrome. Should we change
Yeah.
it so
Yeah, let's change it
it's
to race cars. Now
ha 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 ha.
hold on a
Yeah,
minute.
legit. What?
Race cars.
You good?
Uh, oh, you know what? I know they look the same, but that's because calling reverse on an array stores that reversed array here. To see what I mean, I'm just going to change the order of my code. Like, trust me, everything's okay. But I'm just going to move my console logs to go one at a time.
Okay.
There. Oh, Jane, you say you feel an if else coming on. I have news. There's going to be no if else here.
Really? Okay, because in
None.
my heart too, I was like, yeah, we're gonna. Okay.
Nope.
Learners could use an if else
Oh, you totally can.
in. And the thing is, we could even use one at the end where we're like, oh, if, because you could send like a friendly message like, oh, if it's true, push them this.
So we're going to take our reversed letters and join them along this delineator. Console log reversed string. Reversed string. So there's race cars from race cars. And then finally, we're going to compare that reverse string is the same as the cleaned up string. Cool. Const is same is equals to reversed string 3 equals.
3 equals. So like
Uh,
there, because the 2 equals would be like, oh, are they truthy? Are they samey enough?
exactly.
Kristen makes a
Console.
solid point, which is a compliment for you, and I love a compliment for you. Kristen's saying
Oh,
this is way simpler than it was in my mind, right? Like I was like, oh, and then I've got to build a moat. Like I had definitely built up this being a lot scarier in my head than it actually is.
so instead of doing an if else, I did a comparison.
Oh, but we could do an if else. Nobody could
We
stop
totally could.
us.
Yeah, we could totally do if reverse string is equals to cleaned up string, return true, else return false.
Okay.
I'm storing that in a Boolean.
So, Monica, look, I now that I'm the one driving the questions that are on here, you know what? It is and it's not just that Ramon is fantastic and we love him and he's the best, but also it's so much easier to learn with a
You're very
friend,
sweet.
isn't it?
Mm. I
Because
only do
stuff
it with pair programming.
'Cause so it's so easy to spiral on your own. We're like, "Oh, what's this? Nothing's wrong." I mean, lots of times things are a little wrong, but if you're doing this with a friend, all of a sudden you'd be like, "Oh, hey, does this work like that?" And it gets a lot less scary. But yeah, Ramon being your friend is, like, double super helpful, huh?
Ah,
Um,
so
okay,
cool. So we
so
can
that's
see
gonna
that
return true or false.
correct. So we can see race car is not the same as race cars. So is same? Nah, that's false. Let's remove that S again. Race car, reverse string is race car, is same as true.
Okay, I have a really important one to give you, and it's gonna involve me spelling. Can you write SAIPP?
Oh my goodness. Okay, hold on.
Yep.
SAI double P
UA,
UA
KIV,
KIV
I,
I
KAU,
KAU
PPIAS.
double P AIS
IAS.
IAS. Cool. So let's see. I wish I spoke Finnish. It's such a beautiful language. I'm not even being sarcastic. I
No,
love it.
it's do you know what? Someday we'll have to have a language club instead. So
Oh, I
this
love
is
that.
exciting because we know the code works. What we're really checking for is did I read the letters all right? And yes,
And you did.
we have it on
I'm gonna put.
terribly good authority that this is Soapstone Vendor.
Look at me. Look at me just making a mess here with symbols and stuff. So here's our lowercase string. Here it is cleaned up, split up into letters, reversed letters.
We've
I
got
wish
something
I
we
spoke.
haven't tested though.
What's that?
We need alphanumeric input to be kept. What happens if there's a 1 or like a 9 or a 700, which is 3 different characters fine.
So, I mean, alpha numeric does include numbers. You're
Yeah.
absolutely right. Let's check that. So, like 111, Hannah 111.
Okay, so that regular expression, which I should really appreciate more than I do, has done it just fine. It's fine. Okay.
Mhm.
Maybe I'll give regular expressions. So I think we might, because we don't want these projects are really about showing you're learning, about problem solving. We don't want to
Yeah.
do too much of this for you because it's kind of
No.
cheating you, but we do want to make sure that we're answering your questions. So can you ask us questions you have about this? We'll still be in the Discord, we'll still be around. And while we're waiting for
Yeah.
that little delay to handle your questions, let's chat a little bit about this because these projects feel really big and scary.
Yeah.
But these problem solving processes, like a lot of times, I don't love code challenges in job interviews, but this is a really common type of interview question.
Yeah.
Um, being able to look at this and I think the big skill to learn for this is not to panic or
Yeah.
to panic briefly deep in your heart and then calmly set it down. But really learning to break these problems down is going to be what gets you into building beautiful things.
Absolutely. So, and as you see, what I've done here is like I haven't worried about any of the HTML. I've kind of disregarded all of the HTML, all of the CSS, all of the like what happens when you press a button. I'm just like, hey, I'm just gonna check. I'm just gonna write code to check if something's a palindrome. Taking those requirements, breaking it down into steps. You can do this with variables like I did. Um, but you can, for example, make functions for each of these. Functions convert to lowercase. Function clean up string. Function split string up. Function reverse reverse letters in array. join array back. Now, Monica's asking a great question. There's no HTML or CSS in this. Do we have to make it look like the example FCC or Free Code Camp project to pass? No.
You do have to have HTML and CSS to pass. Yeah, Eric's like, wait. We do need to have a web app. We need to have a functioning web app so a user can
Yep,
pass in a string, but it doesn't have to
absolutely.
look like Free Code Camp to pass. Um, I would personally encourage y'all, like the whole point of web development, I would argue. A lot of times the point of it's to make money to pay your rent or to make that thing that was in your head. But it's the ability to make something new and different using light and creativity. I'd love to see people's personalities in these. No pressure if you're like, I don't care enough about palindrome checkers to make it my personality. But if you're really
Totally fine.
into koi ponds, make me a koi pond thing. Like, do what's in your heart. And for a lot of us, what's in our heart is just, this is done.
Absolutely. And so people are wondering, like, hold on, don't you have to make the HTML and CSS? I'm not going to do it for y'all today. This is something I'm going to leave y'all as homework. But I will drop some hints as to what to expect. Check it out. You should have an input element with an ID of input text. You should have a button element with an ID of check button. You should have a div with an ID of result. When you click on the check button element, okay, what is this telling me already? First of all, I need a variable that holds my text input element. I need a variable that that has my check button element. I need an element that holds my result. Monica, can I go over an event listener on click referencing an HTML ID, i.e. check button? What do you think, Jess? Shall we do it?
Yeah. So let's
All right.
let's talk about that. So we could make, like we could
Oh,
just
I won't write it.
oh, I was
Should
like,
I or shouldn't I?
I mean, we could write we could let's talk about event listener.
Cool.
You're like, I'm not writing
I'm
it.
just,
I'm writing it right now.
no, I'm not going to write all of it. So input type text, ID equals text input. And we have our button ID check btn. Check. I'm just going to call it check. And our div ID equals result. Sorry, Jess. I was
No,
doing all
no.
of that
What?
out loud.
I'm sorry, Jess. I was being helpful and talking through what I was doing. You are the worst. You're terrible.
So I'm going to lay out a very, very soft and a very, very general approach to this.
Yeah.
So we have our input document. We've done this before. Get element by ID text input. I'm not going to even bother with the result. Const button equals document dot get element by ID check btn.
So
Now,
just to talk through this from a goofy person's perspective, what the code up here is doing is saying, hey, I want to. Oh, I went away.
oh, sorry.
No. So, hey, I'm creating a variable for input, and that's going to be given to me from the the HTML element that has the text input. Okay, so I'm going to go get this input from what the user says, and then I'm
Correct.
going to wait for the button is this check button, but we've got to add the event listener because right now it's just like, hey, I know what that button means. I know what element that refers to. But Monica's pointed out that event listener for onClick is going to be what we want. Right now, I
Does
mean,
nothing.
it is a little click animation. It's a little satisfying.
True. So we'll have our, and we've done this before in previous exercises. Add event listener. Click with an anonymous function.
Oh, that little arrow function. Oof, oof.
Open up our console. Clicked. Clicked, 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 clicked.
Ah, yeah. Monica, there's a little bit of a delay, so you were absolutely right where you were like, "No, no, no,
There
haven't
it
we
is.
been doing this?" And look at that, just boom, beautiful, pristine. I love how you're like, "Can we go through this?" And then immediately you're like, "Okay, but I absolutely know in my heart how to do this." And
Just one
that's
tiny note, Monica. You wrote on click. It should be click in a string because the specific event is the string. So it's not a, there's no value called on click.
oh,
Um,
I accidentally said on click a couple times, so that's my bad.
no, you're good. What, uh, yeah. I think what you're thinking of is button on click equals. And
Yeah.
I think these are kind of equivalent, but I'd go with the event listener. Okay.
Amazing. We've got a
So
couple other questions, and then we will abandon the learners. I will say oh, the homework I would give folks is to try to start breaking down this. So the earlier well, what are you doing? What are you doing?
I'm sorry, but Mitch had a great idea. Can we chase it?
Yeah, yeah.
I just thought about how to do this project. Is there a way we can make this CSS change depending on whether the word is or is not a palindrome? Pleasant background if it is, dark and foreboding if not. Yeah, I'm sorry. I said I wouldn't do any of the homework, any of the exercise, but that is too fun and I love it. So we had link. Let's our C. Oh, I forgot how this goes again. Link ref equals styles.css. And what is it? Type style sheet or rel?
Rel style sheet.
Uh,
Yeah, the one thing where I'm in here really confident, like, yeah.
so let's give our body. No. Uh, yeah. So
Just 2 background colors. We'll just have 2 different options for background colors.
is palindrome
Oh.
background color. Look, I'm not
Pink,
gonna even
pink, pink,
pretend.
pink, 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 pink.
Hot pink, isn't that a color?
It
Yes.
is. Oh, and we could do Rebecca
Uh,
purple if it's not, just so that, like, you win either way. You're not punished if it's not. You
oh,
get oh, maybe
cool.
that's giving us, like, the hex codes. We went lazy. We went keyword. Y'all are just do it very, very good, very extra, and we're just like, "Nah."
So cool. We have our classes. Here's what we're gonna do. When we click, first, okay, let's break it down into steps. Step one, get the string from the input. Step two, check that that string is a palindrome. Step three, if it is, I'll just do it here. Remove, no, add is palindrome. Palindrome uh, class to body. Step four, if it isn't, add not palindrome class to body. You can't see
Oh,
my typing. I'm sorry. Whip, 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 whip.
just up a
There we
little
go.
bit. I'm Mitch, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna put you in jail. Not real jail. Just so we could see this a little bit better. I'm so sorry, my loves. I should have caught that.
So let's call it string input equals. Now I would go and Google how to get that from my,
I
or look up in
DuckDuckGo it
my,
myself,
yeah, I was
yeah,
just going to say
DuckDuckGo
like
is just a less satisfying verb, isn't it?
a
Web
search
search, we
engine of
used to say in
choice.
my day.
Thank you. I would Alta Vista as it was in my day when I was
Shush,
a young
you're
child.
like 19 years old. I'm gonna get you. Alta
You flatter me.
Vista.
Um,
Your
so
grandma or
that's
somebody else my
input,
age told you that.
input.value. So const is palindrome equals oh, hold on. I can't call it that because the function's called is palindrome. Uh, input is palindrome str input. If it is, so if input is palindrome, add is palindrome class to body. And I think it was body.classlist.add. No, how did it go? I don't remember. Add
I never knew.
List task
Oh.
list dot add and remove. Cool. Sys dot add in is palindrome.
So we can't do anything. So we can't like change the CSS with this, but we can say, hey, we've got these two options for CSS classes.
Yeah.
If it is a palindrome, if this returns true, go ahead and inject this CSS class we've already written into our body element in our HTML.
One more thing I forgot to do.
Oh, document query selector body.
I didn't give the body an ID, but there's only one ID ever. Only one
One
body ever, so
body.
this is fine. Okay,
I'm
so
so
race.
excited.
I have no idea if this is gonna work. Let's find out. It worked.
Oh, sorry. I've got a cat in my lap who's very unhappy about my joy.
Oh no. So
Oh no,
race
he's
cars.
always unhappy.
Now let's see what's going on here.
Oh,
Oh
we
wait,
need
I
to.
can't type. I forgot to add the class, not palindrome. Not a palindrome.
But now, if you put a palindrome in, will it turn it pink?
I have
Because
no
it's
idea.
gonna, or will it add both classes and then stick to the because
Oh,
CSS reads from the top down. So you've got to, yeah, you've got to. If you've already done it once, it will always use the first class it applied.
that makes sense. So Ramon, not a palindrome. Race car is a palindrome. There we go.
Okay, so now that y'all know how to do this, y'all can get like well weird about it as well.
Yep. Mitch, I love this idea, by the way. It's so cool.
Our learners are like obviously learners everywhere, but like especially are so creative and so nice to each other. Y'all know that when we're not on stream, we like gossip like, oh, did you see this in that? Did you see this in the Discord? Everybody's so nice to each other. It's so life affirming.
So homework is going to be to, of course, finish this.
When you can, there's no deadline on it. This is a lot.
If I run my test now, we're going to see that a lot of them pass, but some don't. And I'm going to let you all take care of that. But one thing I would also ask all of you to do, if you like, is to share your solutions in Discord.
And this could be next week. This could be next month. This could be, don't freak out if people are posting them like tomorrow. A lot of folks are like folks who've already done another JavaScript bootcamp with us or folks who are just brushing up. There is absolutely no hurry.
Absolutely. In fact, you'll find in the JavaScript Bootcamp Discord channel, Discord server, there's something called JS projects. And what I'm going to ask people two sets of favors. First, if you like, please post your solution in there. But if I would also love for you all to please give each other feedback on your solutions as well. Ask questions. How did you do this? Where did you find this? This sort of thing. Wouldn't it be easier if you did this or that? Oh, you know, a better variable name would be blah, blah, blah. This kind of like back and forth, I find one of the best ways to learn.
Amazing.
Yeah.
My homework for y'all is to do something small and nice for yourselves. Yeah. Yeah.
So with that done, tomorrow we're going to be learning
Football or
modern
football?
JavaScript.
No, that
I
doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter.
look, I'm going off an assumption that
I think that's like
Argentina football.
oh,
It's
yeah,
the one where you actually use your foot
feet.
to kick the ball.
I was gonna say midfielder suggested to me that it was like football. But that's unhelpful.
Very good.
Amazing. We will
So yeah,
have
we'll start
the easiest
tomorrow.
time.
Yes. Where did it go? Here it is. Yeah, so we'll start here tomorrow and same time as before. Thanks everybody for joining.
Bye, my loves. Thank you so
Take care,
much.
everybody.